Hello and welcome to episode 79, Property Mastermind podcast with Bob and Hilary. Today talking inspiration for you. So be inspired by just some recent student success stories that we thought we'd share, so you sort of know that it's something that you could achieve as well. So let's jump on into episode 79. Hello, and welcome to episode 79. As I said, be inspired by recent student success stories. But before we get started, as usual, giving away a copy of Property Millionaires Exposed. And this week, this is going to Dean Edwards. Dean, this will be in the post for you. Post is a little bit slow at the moment, so hopefully you get it for Christmas. And if you've already got one or you don't want to read it, you could always wrap it up and give it away as a gift. What about that, Bob? Great idea.
Yeah, we've done a bit of that too.
Oh, yes. I think all of my kids have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just like part of the aprisement sort of stocking-ish grown-up ones. Anyway, this will be in the post to you. And if you'd like a copy of this, please feel free to comment on our YouTube channel, subscribe. We get a notification, so we'll send out a copy to you. That's how you get to win one. If you'd like to win one, subscribe to us on YouTube, send us an email. Just do great things. And if you think you've got a friend or somebody who'd like to hear our podcast and what we offer, well then please share the podcast with them. Spread the word and spread the love. Because if people are interested, why not learn from somebody like this guy with a little bit of me on the side?
That sounds like a meal.
Anyway,
chips or salad. What are you? If I'm the steak,
I'm
too weird.
I'm going to be the salad.
Ah, you would be the salad.
I would be the salad.
You'd be a very healthy salad.
I would try to be a healthy salad. Well, I would endeavour. Anyway, Bob, thanks again. Look, I don't have to thank you for being my guest anymore because we've changed the name it's our podcast now.
Thanks for being...
thanks for getting us through to episode 76.
I liked it when you used to thank me. But anyway,
okay, I'll do it again. Thanks for joining.
Last time. You don't have to do it anymore.
More pressing matters.
Yes.
Less waffle, more real talk, Bob.
Success.
No. Before we start that, it's 11 days into Christmas.
Oh, that is pressing.
It is. I put the Christmas tree up last night. It looks fabulous. I went with a theme this year. I've never done that. Done the whole colour theme. We've got the white tree, the green.
That's the best one you've done.
Thank you.
Well, that I've seen.
Yeah. It looks pretty good. Got a few prezzies underneath. It's interesting. There's not one present under there for me.
For you?
Not one. And there's probably 20 presents.
How many days before Christmas?
11.
Well, don't give up yet.
Okay.
Don't give up.
Well, I won't. I'll just be dropping wee hints that there are no presents for me under the tree.
It's coming.
Okay.
Coming.
Okay, and on that note, let's talk about, off that note, let's change topic. Mm-hmm. Why we decided to do this podcast today.
Yeah.
It's about inspiring you to jump in if you've been thinking about it and become a property developer. Get educated. We've got a great education program. Look up propertymastermind.com.au. There's a link down below if you're into looking at links. Otherwise, look us up and get started in 2023. We're going to share some recent stories.
Yeah. They're exciting.
They're really exciting.
I get so excited when people post anything really, but particularly about deals, you know.
When he's talking about post, this came up because we saw on one of our closed Facebook pages, all of our many students in a row started posting their current successes. Just bought a site, sold.
Yeah. It started like an avalanche.
It did.
Everyone got excited. And
so we thought, we should share that. We should share that with more people because it's exciting. So we're going to break it down and talk through some of the hassles that they went through. We're working with them, holding their hand on this journey, so we know what's gone on for them. And the great part, the success of it, and what their success will be moving forward.
Yeah. So these people are in our mentoring program.
Yep. And
we've got a few. It could turn into a couple of episodes.
Yes. A few having some really great successes right now.
More than a few.
Yeah. I mean, as in they've posted a picture of what they're doing and it's cool. So let's start off with Adelaide and Sione.
Adelaide and Sione.
And I know they listen, so good morning. Morena.
Our good friends. Yeah, do it.
Well, we're actually having breakfast with them on Sunday.
We are.
That's kind of what we do. We do connect with our students quite well.
I'm looking forward to that. Even they live in different states, but they're in our hood.
For the moment?
Briefly. So that's good.
So they joined us a while ago and signed up to our mentoring program.
So this year, they'd gone on a bit of a journey in terms of they knew what they wanted, property development. You know, they'd seen it.
Well, to be honest, if you read the post that said we've done everybody else's program and finally we've got somewhere,
Yeah.
that's what they say.
Yeah, that's what I meant by they've been on a bit of a journey.
Oh, okay.
Because,
I didn't mean to bash everyone, but that's what they write a lot.
Oh, well, they said it.
Yeah.
We don't have to. But, I mean, not everybody comes to us first.
No.
But when they come to us, they never leave.
Oh, and they usually say,
They
why
never
don't
go
we find
anywhere
you
else.
first? Yeah.
Yeah, and they all say that. Heck, I wish we'd found you first. But anyway, look, it is what it is. You got to find, you got to find positivity in everything. So if people have bounced around a bit before they found us, well, that's they've picked stuff up here and there, and it increases your knowledge, increases your determination. If you haven't found what you're really looking for,
Just reduces your wallet, really.
it reduces your wallet quite a bit. Yeah, there is that side of it. Of course, I try to be kind, but. So they had a good look around and just weren't satisfied with what they'd learned or...
Well, they didn't really know what to do. And we told them what to do. And
getting started, that first step, getting momentum, that's the biggest... well, it's not the hardest step, but
it is a big hurdle, Bob.
Well, you can't take your second step until you've taken your first. And it's that first step, like, where do I start?
Yep.
Always a big question.
And if you're listening now, you're probably thinking that. A lot of people will be thinking, where do I start? And so we got them started. And for me, I probably worked quite a lot because I work one-on-one in people's headspace. And I think that...
Including mine.
Yeah. And including my own.
Get out of my head.
Yeah. Well, we all struggle. Everybody has second guesses themselves. Everybody doubts themselves. It doesn't matter who you are, what journey you're on. There will be periods of your maybe every day. Those conversations you have with yourself in the shower.
Yeah.
I had one this morning. I was having a chat to myself, and I had to give myself a bit of a hey, stop it.
Really? Yeah. Well, I have them too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We all do. It's normal.
So just helping them through that headspace battle, that the real estate between their ears before they were purchasing their real estate was a big shift for them.
That's really important, and you don't see that out there, rarely, if ever. It is the other side to success in property development.
Oh, yes.
I talk about you have to know, you have to have knowledge, you've got to know what you're doing and all that, which is true, but that won't get you there by itself. If you think that just filling your head up with knowledge is going to turn you into property development, you're misleading yourself. You need to get in the shower and give yourself a good talking to. That's what it takes.
I don't know if it's everyone in the shower. It's definitely me.
Yeah, but it's the other side of success.
Yes.
That you specialise in.
Success is an inside journey.
Tell me more about that.
Well, it has to happen
it
has to happen in your head. You have to just have that ability, and if you can't, you have to hire someone. And I hire people all the time to work with I hire coaches myself. If I'm struggling to get past, to travel fast enough on my journey, but you have to be able to take those constant steps every day. Consistency when the going gets tough, and if you're struggling too much, well, then you really need to get some help. I know somebody recently who started teaching property development. Somebody I worked with and knew for a long time, but their inside journey was massive. People just second guess themselves all the time and struggle with that ability to move forward. Anyway, so Adelaide and Sione, I did a lot of work with them in that arena, and that whole, you guys can do this. And I used to look at them face on in the camera when we'd be Zooming, and I'd say, why not you? If you don't do it, somebody else will. And that really had to happen because they're just gorgeous people. Yeah,
and they're successful in their own right.
Yes,
and from a sporting background and everything else.
Yeah, very successful.
It's not like they're unsuccessful people.
No,
but it's a whole new world of property development, and there are a lot of characteristics that you can take over into property development.
The organisation, hello, Adelaide. Very organised lady.
Yeah, and people that have been elite athletes as well.
Yes.
They're used to the grind. You don't like jump out on a rugby field and become an international on your first, your first try. It takes years of training and skill training and everything that goes behind it. So people from a sporting background are used to that grind, the long goal, and the disappointment that you get along the way of, not making a team that you thought you were going to make, an injury.
Which equates to putting an offer in and not getting it.
Yeah. And you can get an injury, and that, that could equate to getting a knockback at council or something like that.
Yeah.
But not to give up.
Yes.
You don't give up because you get an injury, but it's a lot, a serious one. So all those things people carry forward. And so with this couple, they were carrying forward prior successes in their life.
Yes.
But like I said, a whole new world in property development.
And so they finally, we got some investors. Well, they've got some investors. They put together a structure. They've just done such a great job.
And they pushed on their first patch. Remember, they worked really hard, just couldn't quite nail a deal, but not to give up. Then they switched patches, and that was good because they were able to get reinvigorated and come up with something. And then you helped out big time.
Yes, please.
Tell me about that.
Well, I just happened to have a couple of investors up my sleeve.
Oh, as you would. A couple of investors up your sleeve.
But the good thing about, I think there's a takeaway that we missed there, Bob. You said the words, they changed patch. And sometimes you have to change patch. Karen's just recently done that as well.
Yeah, she has.
When you have a realisation that I've looked, I'm starting to go stir crazy, it's just not stacking up, and you really just need to think, okay, it's time to change patch, which to some people comes as a bit of, there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of work finding out about your patch. Yeah.
I mean, you do a lot of that work up front, but then patch, areas can change as well,
Yes.
But to their credit, they embraced the change and found a deal that stacked, and you came to the party because their model is joint ventures with, in this case, joint venture with an equity partner, equity partners, as the case may be. And that was their model from day one that they wanted to pursue. And you tipped in, I think, very kindly, as you do from time to time, when timing's perfect.
For me, it's just timing. If I've been talking to somebody who tells me they have money and they'd like to get into property development, and then if I have somebody who we're mentoring who needs money, and it's just a timing thing.
Coincides.
Yeah, it has to work like that. And I like connecting people, connecting the dots. But people won't hang around for a long time if they've got money to invest, and if they want to be doing it with property development, and they've spoken to me and I know about it. Well, it has to be a timing thing for me. I think, well, they're looking, they've got something. This is a perfect deal. There's $500,000 to be made here and shared.
Yeah. And so they're into it.
They are into
it. With their investors, working on design at the moment, getting the initial concepts for their build done. It's starting to shape up now. So
find that inspiring. We hope that you find that inspiring. A young couple deciding to get into property development.
Going up a number of dry gullies first, but not giving up. Not
giving up, another takeaway. Don't give up. And then...
Knew it when they found home.
Yes.
And don't get into it, And if necessary, be prepared to adjust, be prepared to change, like e.g. in this case, changing patch.
They actually changed patch and went out of state, which is interesting.
That's another thing.
And because they came to the workshop, they connected with so many people in the...
Good connectors.
Oh, yes, fabulous.
Now, there's another thing. They don't sit over in the corner, two of them in a corner just muttering to themselves.
No.
They get out there and really talk and meet people. They love people.
So that probably helped in a lot of ways.
That's why we love them.
Yeah.
They love us.
So that's one success story there at Leighton Sione. So congrats to you guys.
Yes, well done.
We hope
proud of you guys.
If anyone's listening, just take some inspiration from that. Thought they really wanted to do it, and they just got in there and they're doing it.
And it's only the beginning.
Hell yes.
Well, they're young. Well, compared to me. Well, everyone's young. No, but joking. But they've got some great years ahead of them in property development. Going to set themselves up well and truly, and their family and all those around them, because they have a bigger picture than themselves as they do. So tremendous.
We love catching up with them when we're in Sydney, so that's good.
Yep.
Alrighty, let's talk about Tia and Craig.
Yeah, tremendous. Well, here's another power couple.
They are another power couple, going places. The same thing. They joined us this year as well.
They did.
And they'd done
a little project of their own.
Yeah, and they were pretty honest straight up. They sort of knew that they could do it better. We use those words. Yeah, there was money left on the table because they were sort of stumbling through. And
but they wanted to step up.
Yes.
And they wanted to do a bigger project than their first one. But
the
also
first was just a build, wasn't it? One house build maybe.
But also do things better. And stepping up into either a subdivision or, multi-units.
Yes.
So a bigger project, and which is basically a bit scarier.
Yeah, it is a little bit
going
more
up
scary.
Something bigger. And
so there's a fab photo of them on our Facebook page. We must put it on a bigger one so people can see. And they're both standing in front of the sold sign, which is always an exciting photo. People stand in front of that sold sign. Which means they've purchased their site.
Yep.
And what are they putting on that? They're putting 3 on there.
Well, they're doing a subdivision, which was interesting because they were looking at doing townhouses. So here's something you learn here, I suppose, is that there's often more than one use on a site. And we talk about that a lot in our education.
We talk about highest and best use, but it's multiple uses.
Yeah. So here's let me think. It's a bit over 1,000 square metres. Let's call it 1,050. Can't remember the exact size, with a house on it. But it was zoned you could do townhouses. So what the obvious use is townhouses. Let's have a look at that. But it could also be subdivided. And because it's a townhouse type zoning, you can subdivide down into small lots, down to like 280 square metres. And so there's another opportunity, is a subdivision. So you've got townhouses, you've got a subdivision. And you can go down to small lots. So it could have been a 4-lot subdivision. But then the alternative is, well, what if we do a 3-lot subdivision with slightly larger lots? And rather than just a subdivision of lots, what if we were to build houses on them? And so this was the scenario that we went through initially. And so we ran a feasibility on the townhouses. I think it was 5, can't quite remember. Then we ran a feasibility on 4-lot subdivision. Then we ran a feasibility on a 3-lot subdivision. And on the 4 lots, it's a good suburb. It's one of the more upmarket suburbs. So we could have done 4 smaller houses on the smaller lots, or done a 3-lot subdivision, build larger houses. So we ran 3 different scenarios, and, well, you know which one won.
3.
The 3-lot subdivision with the 3 better houses. It beat the townhouses and it beat the 4 lots and the 4 houses. So there's an example where more isn't necessarily better.
Yeah. And really exciting for them, very exciting.
Very exciting for all of us because we're working with them on it.
Yeah. They're both very organised people again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really noticing organisation as being, it's quite a strong one.
It is. And that particular site had some issues that needed to be resolved.
They've got about 100 kids too, don't they?
Who?
Just those guys. Oh. They got heaps of kids.
99 at last count. You might know something I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids there.
So
busy people.
Yeah, I mean, there's issues to be resolved around stormwater, particularly. It backed onto a school, an education facility. There was, because it sloped a bit down from the road. So they needed the time to resolve these issues. They needed to talk to planner, town planner. They needed to talk to particularly civil engineer to get some of these issues resolved. And so they needed time. So they're able to negotiate a good due diligence period.
They've really landed on their feet.
Yeah,
they did a great job.
To give them enough time. Otherwise, they would have had to walk away. So if they couldn't negotiate that due diligence period, it potentially had some issues that could hit it on the head. And so they had to be resolved. But fortunately, the owner, sensible person, the seller, realised that they have problems, and they gave them the time, and it was solved. And now it's turned into a really good deal. There's
another great tip there. If you need to do that time, and you might have heard Bob share a few podcasts back, I don't know when, about the guy that basically flipped the coin waiting for, was it about mining some silence? He was waiting on a report and it wasn't ready in time, so he just gambled and bought the site anyway, and it turned out that it couldn't be developed. So that's a real takeaway, to have that extra time to do that due diligence, to get that definite yes or that definite no. You can't just cross your fingers and wing it. No. So they were able to negotiate that time.
Yeah, and I mentioned to them, and I've said this recently as well on, I don't know whether it was a podcast or one of our Q&A sessions.
It was a Q&A, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the problems, potential problems that site had that had to be resolved, and it took weeks, 3-4 weeks to resolve them, they're the problems of the land, and the seller owns the land. So they're not your problems as a developer.
They'll always be there.
Yeah, quite often, you might be dealing through a real estate agent and you say, oh, look, there's a number of issues that have to be resolved. And they sort of think, well, that's your issues to resolve. But they're not. The problems are the seller's problems. And that's the way I put it. And I go back, whether I'm talking to a seller or talking to an agent, and I say, hey, listen, this site you got up for sale, look, I'm interested, but there's some problems here. In fact, some of these problems, if they're not resolved, will absolutely kill the deal, and you'll never sell it, and you won't get anywhere near the money you want. However, if they are solved, I'm prepared to purchase the site. But they're your problems. Now,
great tip.
You should have solved them before you put it on the market and made your life a lot easier. But the thing is, I am prepared to do it. So I'm prepared to put in my time, my effort, dealing with my professional people, and even using my own money. I'm prepared to do that to solve your problems on your land. But in order to do that, remembering it's my time and my money, I do need some time. I need 30 days to resolve this issue. And remember, if you say no, I walk away, and the next person's going to want the same, and all you've done is fun ties and wasted time. I'm prepared to help you to solve the problems on your land. And that throws it right back into their lap then. They think, it's not their problem, it's mine. And they're going to help me solve it.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I think they used that there as well. Because there were a few different issues there that needed resolving, yeah.
So they've done a great job. So inspiring there. Are you inspired by just another young couple with a lot of children? They decided they wanted to go from just building houses to do property development, and they're underway. And
they are
just so
fully
exciting.
Fledged developers.
I think we had. When they decided to join the mentoring program, we went out for lunch with them, breakfast. No, we had a couple. We went for lunch and had a couple of beers. You had beers. I had
caught up with a couple of new mentoring students at the time.
Yes.
I think 3.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. And we had a lunch somewhere that worked for everybody.
And so, just so exciting to see people start their journey and then be well on. Like they're well on the way. They're not just educated. They've just bounced in, and it's perfect timing.
That's not long ago. It's only not many months ago.
No, it's a few months. So it's exciting.
Where we sort of just met them, and now into a deal.
I think, how did we even meet them? I think they came through on the masterclass, the free masterclass.
Might have been,
and then they had a yak with us about what we do. So that's those guys. I think let's just finish off with one more today, Bob.
What are you going to do?
What about we talk about Tanya? And we always talk about Tanya. And I know she listens. Had a yak with her yesterday. Tanya's settling on next week or the week after.
It's got to be this week or next week.
What's the day? I think she settles in 5 days.
Okay. All right. Well,
and Tanya, we talk about
pre-Christmas settlement.
Tanya a lot because I find Tanya very inspiring, and I think you will too. If you think of a young woman who is not even an Australian background, and just so driven, and a couple of small kids, and her husband works away. They do amazing things.
Yeah.
They're a very organised unit. Organised again.
Well, they're organised, and they have a plan, and you've worked with them on that as well.
Yes.
So they're very definite. I mean, even before we met them, they were very motivated in what they're doing on the business front.
Within another few businesses that they've been doing. They're only a young couple, but they do great. Yeah,
determined to succeed in life and doing it.
Yes.
But then property development was the big thing that they wanted.
Well, the ironic thing, Tanya's husband, he does his own business stuff. Tanya is the property developer.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had a property get-together in Melbourne 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And she came along, and I remember watching her. We were having a chat. We stayed around afterwards and had a couple of drinks. Everyone, we sort of did some education there. It was just a half-day thing. And at the beginning, she would not even have been able to. Well, she rang me and said, "What do I say to a real estate agent?" And I had to send her the questions to ask. That's where she started. Yeah. And then she walked over to me, and we're just standing around chatting in a large group of people, and I just introduced her, and then I just stepped backwards, and I looked over 10 minutes later, and there she is in a group of people just holding court, holding her own as a strong, confident woman, talking property development with with people who are already male property developers, which was interesting because that for her initially would have been quite a scary thing.
Yeah.
And there she was, just holding her own, a very
she had
exciting.
cards or something too.
Oh, she's got business cards. But she's had an interesting journey because remember her buyer's agent wants to actually start joint venturing with her, or there's some stuff going on in the background there. But from where she started, which was absolutely the beginning, and settling on the property and duplex going up. I was talking to her yesterday about the demolition, and so
her rise has been like that, you know.
Yeah, Bob's just pointing upwards for those who can't see. It's just been a massive climb.
Yeah.
So find inspiration from somebody like Tanya.
I'm inspired by Tanya whenever I talk to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's very organised, as you say.
Yeah, maybe there's a trait there. Yes, stays on task. So the three lots of people that we've talked about today, and there's plenty more. We're going to do a few episodes like this. But
all of our wonderful mentees.
Yeah,
and lots more.
Doing a fantastic job, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, we're so proud of them.
Yeah, definitely proud of them. So if you've been thinking about property development, find some inspiration and those three lots of people that we've just talked about then, just everyday people, aren't they? Just
yeah. If you ran into them
all working
anywhere,
full-time.
You wouldn't know they're property developers. There's no stamp on their head.
No, not at all.
You wouldn't pick them at all.
Sione definitely looks like a rugby player.
No, probably because he is.
Yeah. So find some inspiration in that, and if you want to have a chat with us about what we have to offer, you're more than welcome to reach out. Just send me an email, or you can actually just go with sending me an email, and I can organise a time that we can have a chat with you. And we realise we're not for everybody. We realise that not everybody's in the right place to get started, but if you are ready to, well, then we're probably a great place to start.
Not probably.
We're definitely a great place to start. Well, Bob, I think that's the end of episode 79.
Yeah, it's great. I love talking about our successful students.
Yeah.
Students, developers, I don't know, call them what now. They're part of our community.
What about episode 80? We're going to be interviewing somebody who is doing very well and started off here. So stay tuned for next week. Episode 80 is going to be very exciting.
It will be.
All right, everybody. If we don't hear from you or see you or anything before Christmas, have a fabulous Christmas, and there'll be episodes right the way through the holiday season. So catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.